It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey everybody, it's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey gang.
Les Webster.
Hello all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Great.
Just fine.
Ducky.
I can imagine Mike sitting there and hears flames everywhere going, this is just fine.
The whole room is on fire, but everything's good.
It's all good. Hope everybody out there is doing okay. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Well, honestly, I don't really have a whole lot this week because we kind of have a short week here because we recorded late last week. So between rewatching our topic for the week and continuing to read the book I'm reading, I kind of haven't had much time to do anything else. So, you know, that's kind of, like I said, short week, and I'm kind of the book the comic book Implosion book. It's very interesting, but it's very slow going because it's a book, and it's a book with huge pages, so there's lots of words on a page.
Tiny little letters.
Yeah, kind of.
Tiny letter.
I thought that was Bubbles.
Well, those two. Okay.
Cool. Well, I've been doing my Halloween horror movie a day still. So I've been sleeping really good. Yeah, some of them are pretty neat. I forget that I've watched them. That's kind of like our topic tonight, and then you rewatch it and you're kind of like, oh yeah, I remember this. But yeah, like I said, short week for me too. I've started the Van Helsing versus Robin Hood. That was one I was getting in issues, and for some reason I didn't finish reading the end of it. So it's kind of like trying to find where I left off, and so it's been fun. Yeah, other than that, that's about it. Just moving myself out.
So you were expecting a big surprise?
On
that book?
No, I kind of figured the way it would end. Just because the two characters it is, you can't kill one of them off, you know. So.
Spoilers.
That's the
Yep,
deal.
spoiler.
Right?
Well, I haven't got to the end of the book, so I could so totally be wrong. But I'm figuring neither one of them dies because they're like Zenoscope's cash cows.
Pretty much.
Yep. So they're kind of safe. She'll find a cure.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, no kidding. I was really worried there for a minute.
Me too.
I was, yeah. Personally, I got nothing to add. Just, I've been occupying chairs, and that's about it.
You haven't watched any terrible movies lately or anything?
Oh, anything I watch is terrible.
It's all terrible.
But I'm proud of it, so.
Hey, I introduced him into the wild, wild world of Batwoman.
Who?
You.
Oh,
We were
no.
We were watching that.
I've got a, when the second version of MST3K came out, it was the film reel or whatever it is. That was one of the...
What, the film crew?
Yeah, that was one of those that they had done.
Okay. So you hadn't seen the Mystery Science Theater version then?
No.
Well, see, I introduced you to it.
I guess.
Yeah, thanks, right? Thanks. Appreciate it.
You hadn't seen
Yeah.
that. You hadn't seen that version, and I was showing it, and you were watching it. So yeah.
But I didn't want to admit it. Don't you get this?
See, now it's on record.
Well, it's on record now, man.
Thanks a lot.
Beep, beep, beep.
So have any of you guys checked out the DC channel yet?
No.
No? You know, they give you a free week. So I was thinking about waiting till Friday and getting my free week so I could watch the first 2 episodes of Titan. Just to see.
Get your
Yeah,
free week. Wait till Friday. Get your free week and an espresso IV drip, and just watch the whole damn thing, and then cancel it on Monday.
Well, they only release episodes on Friday, so it's kind of like a slow thing. So I think they're getting people, if you come here just for that, we're going to have to keep you week after week after week.
Somehow, I'm not surprised they found a way to do that.
Right. But they do have some of their better titles on there. There was a new one just released. What was it? Batman Ninja? And that one's on there. It's kind of weird because Robin's like this 40-year-old man. So, kind of weird. Joker turns into a transformer. I mean, it's crazy. But... right?
Okay, now I'm in.
Oh, God. I should have known. Funny how I check out and Les checks in at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of crazy.
Like
Yeah.
ships passing in the dark.
My friend Juan, he subscribed to it. So he's sending me like screenshots and he's like, how old is Robin? He's a closet DC fan now. So, but that's a secret. Yeah, he's...
A secret to only the 3 of us and everybody else who listens to this podcast.
Right, but they won't tell anybody.
Yeah, y'all don't tell anybody. Jeez.
Don't tell anyone. Thomas, it's...
Everybody raise your right hand and repeat after me.
After you.
I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good.
After you, so I just repeated it. So.
He always rubs it in my face when DC does a bad movie, which, you know, has been quite a bit here lately, and I keep telling him, it's like, dude, but you have to watch their animated stuff. That's where they really shine and kick ass, so
he watches Batman Ninja.
And so he latches on to Batman Ninja. I think the problem here is him. He's obviously got terrible taste.
Well, I feel bad because that was the first one he watched, so it was like, oh, wait.
No, not that one. Not that one.
Not that one. Yeah.
Give him titles, Liz. Give him titles.
Right. Well, I think the first one I always direct people to is Assault on Arkham, just because it was the Suicide Squad story we should have had in a movie but didn't get. So it's always like, watch that. If you like Suicide Squad, you'll love this. But we'll win them all over. One fanboy at a time.
Well, things will be different with the Suicide Squad sequel. No,
We can hope.
Well, James Gunn's writing it.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
But I've seen pictures of the new Joker, and it's kind of like, huh. Wow.
The Joaquin
Impressive,
Phoenix Joker?
I don't know. I mean, I know with, like, Cesar Romero, he did kind of have, like, the clown appearance, just because, you know, they had to cover up his mustache and everything else. And I know that Burton kind of played a little bit more on that version, but to totally be a clown is kind of like, wow, you're totally taking a big part of Joker's backstory from him, you know?
Well, I don't think that's the Joker. I think they're playing around with there being different universe Jokers, which, yeah, if things aren't if things aren't screwy enough that you're going, okay, the TV universe is one separate universe, and then the movie universe is a entirely different universe. Now we're going to have different universes in the movie universe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because they're not getting rid of what's his face that was in Suicide Squad.
Leto.
Leto. Yeah,
He
because
drove me insane.
he's supposed to be in the Joker Harley film. So you're going to have the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, and then you're going to have the Joker with Leto. So.
Yeah. Because, the backstory to the Joker I always hang on to is that Batman threw him an acid. From fighting, it was an accident. But it turned him deathly pale, it made his hair green, and it froze his face into a smile. And now the movies come along, and they've changed where Ledger was like, oh, my dad cut my face to make me smile. And it's kind of like, no. That's not the way it freaking happens.
But the thing is with Ledger is he told different stories, so you don't know what was true.
True.
That was the thing.
But his face didn't happen like that from acid. You could tell those were actual cuts in his face.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't. I mean, yeah, it looked like makeup, and I get that. But that was one of the things I liked about the graphic novel Arkham Asylum that came out a long time ago, and Les might remember this. There was a sequence where Batman was in Arkham, and one of the doctors was talking to him, and at one point they were talking about Joker. And the doctor made a comment that he literally wakes up every day and has a different backstory. Today he may be a clown. Tomorrow he may be a homicidal maniac. The next day he may be something in between. And to me, when I read that, I was like, it was like it was trying to cover all the different versions of Joker that had been around up to that point, and could still work today.
Yeah.
Don't do this thing where I love Jeff Johns. He's a great writer and all this, but this whole thing of there actually being three Jokers. Okay.
Yeah.
That's anyway.
See, to me that takes away from the origin story that we do know. Because Joker stated several times that he's told so many stories, even he doesn't know who he is anymore.
Right.
And I think it was Death in the Family. Was that the second one, or Death of a Family?
Death of.
Yeah, Death of. When Batman whispered his name to him, that's what finally drove him insane, because he had to face who he was. He had been running and telling so many lies, and to try to cover that one fact up, that it finally drove him insane that somebody knew who he was for real.
Because he wasn't insane already.
Right. Yeah. But
Well, and supposedly Batman knows. He knows there's three Jokers, but apparently he knows who the real Joker is because of him sitting in the Mobius chair.
Hmm.
You remember that during the Dark Side War? Wasn't that what it was called, Les? He sat in it because it was giving him knowledge, so he started asking the questions like, "Who killed my parents?" That's right. Who is the Joker? And he goes, "No, it can't be." So.
Hmm.
But it's never. As far as I know, it's never been answered.
Yeah.
So,
no, because even in Death of a Family, it was whispered. It tells you that it was whispering it, but it never told us what his name was.
Right.
So. But it would make sense how many times the Joker's died just to be back again. So maybe there is more than one.
Well, I've always kind of thought he was immortal. That would explain why he dies so many times. Supposedly dies.
Yeah.
Because you see him, and the next thing there's an explosion. You can't find a body, or he falls off a cliff or something like that. But you never see the body, and just like, You know,
Yeah.
I've always
Like Michael.
thought that. Yeah. Well, and there was a story in Scott Snyder's run on Batman just before he left, where there was a panel where Commissioner Gordon found a picture from like 1870 something. It was a long time ago, and he looked really close at one of the faces, and it looked like the Joker. I mean, complete with the big smile and everything. So you just go, okay. It was. I've either thought he was immortal, or the other thing I thought of, and it seems appropriate for this time of year, that it's like
Santa Claus?
Sure, why not? That was just like a demon or something like that kind of possess a person. So when that body dies, it goes and finds another person, possesses that, which would also explain the different quirks, different motivations, and all that kind of stuff. That's how I would
actually
have
pretty
gone.
cool. Because each vessel that he would take on their memories, and
Yeah.
even though he left the vessel, he would still have those memories.
And like I said, he kind of acts differently and all that kind of stuff. That would have been a cool way to do it, but once again, they didn't ask me. But
that is pretty cool, though. I like that. So if any of them are listening, they better credit you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Johns, if you're listening.
Right. Well, it would also explain, like I said, they've given us the origin of Batman made Joker. So it would kind of explain, if he had a possession kind of thing, that could have happened at that time, too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
So are your thoughts there, Les?
Not to put you on the spot.
Not to put you on the spot or anything, but...
But yeah, you did. I'm going to say that the version that everybody is talking about is essentially the one that was trotted out there by Brian Boland and I can't remember the writer's name.
And the other guy.
The other guy, yeah, that was him.
Alan Moore.
And that is a version, but the Joker came from a long lineage of creations, and I can't hang my hat on just the Killing Joke, although it's a great story.
Yeah.
But I can't say that that's the definitive, although that's what DC has now accepted as the definitive, except for the new thought of 3 Jokers. And that, too, is kind of unique. So I feel like it's a character you can just sit back and enjoy. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to see if he's crazy or if he's just half loony.
Yeah.
I'm not a loony.
Half loony. Because to me, it can go any way that the writer wants. And it has in stories in the past. So.
Isn't like an origin story something that they really shouldn't mess with, though? That'd be like saying Batman's parents never died.
But they always do.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? And I think the one time that they gave us a different story of them not dying, it was actually a really good story.
No, I meant they always change their origin story. I didn't mean that Batman's parents always died. Yes, they do, but I mean
die.
that they're always tinkering with the origin stories of all of them.
Yeah.
So you kind of just can't take that personally.
Right.
Then they're like, okay, now we're going to make comic books. The Secret Origins. You guys remember those? We're going to make y'all pay $7 a piece for these, and we're going to lay down these stories just to change them again, you know?
Right. You know why? Because you're suckers and you'll pay $7 a pop for them. That's why.
True.
They've been preying on their own fan base for decades. That's nothing new.
That's true.
I think the whole Three Jokers thing. I think they're just setting up for next summer's big event, the Joker Corps.
That would work.
Excuse me.
I choked Liz up with that one.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah, that got me. I can't stop.
Wow.
When you said that, the first thing that ran through my mind is, we are jokers.
Yeah. Exactly. Clones.
See, I didn't really like that story either.
It's all about clones.
Yeah.
We Jokers 3. Alrighty.
Bad and ugly.
On that note, I think we're going to move on.
Whatever that note was.
Whatever that note was. Excuse me.
It's off key, we know that.
Oh, 100%.
Y'all always quote movies. I was trying to throw it in there too, but wah wah. Thanks for playing.
Now I got the Three Amigos stuck in my head, but anyway.
Before we get into this week's topic, I want to take a couple moments to thank the fine folks at Things from Another World for being a sponsor of the Fellowship of the Geeks. If you go to our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and click on the Sponsors tab, you will see all the current deals that are being run by Things from Another World. And currently that is just their evergreen deals, but with the holiday season fast approaching, that will be changing pretty soon. But the evergreen deals they have right now are 40% off comics, statues, toys, and merchandise, 30% off select pre-order manga titles, and 50% off Nick and Dent comics. And while you're on our sponsors page, if you click on the image for Things from Another World or the links there, you'll see in the deals that will take you to their website and let them know that we sent you their way and have some fun. You're going to get some great deals here. Thank you, Things from Another World. Alrighty. We are coming to the end of our horror movie month with a special look at the comedic side. And with this episode, we're looking at a film that came out just a few years ago. And it's a film that we had mentioned in the past. This was, if I'm not mistaken, this was one of Mike's films that he really, really, really wanted a sequel, but we will never get a sequel, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this film is called Cabin in the Woods. Love this film. It was such a great film. It was written and by Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon. And this was actually Goddard's first directing. This was his directing debut. And of course, now he's the showrunner on some of the Marvel Netflix series, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he's running Daredevil and the Defenders. But just such a great little movie that I really knew nothing about. I had heard of it here and there when it first came out, but when I finally saw it, I was like, oh wow, it really blew me away. But enough about me. Let's someone else kind of chime in about their thoughts on this film.
Well, when I first saw Cabin in the Woods as one of our movies we were going to do, my first thought was, I don't even know the name of the movie now, but it was the kid from Boy Meets World. He was in it, Sean was. I think that was like Cabin Fever.
Okay.
Something like that. But it was also a horror movie. But then when I saw Thor, and then Jesse Williams, which of course is Jackson from Grey's Anatomy, it was like, wow, the guys actually picked a good movie for me to watch this time.
Wait a minute.
Hey.
Well, wait a minute.
Not saying they were all bad, but But
No, but you're implying the hell out of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, they're not bad. They're just different.
Uh-huh.
But this one, I've seen it before, but it's been a while because I don't even think I registered that was Thor. So I guess this came out before he was Thor.
It did. It was shot before he was Thor.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pre-muscles.
Because he looked like the same when he was in Red Dawn. But I don't know how his movies fall.
I don't remember when Red Dawn came out, but this was shot in 2009.
Yeah, because didn't this get shelved for a few years too?
Yes, it did. It got shelved for a couple of years for studio bankruptcy BS.
Yeah.
They eventually sold it off to Lionsgate, and Lionsgate put it out.
Yeah. But to me, I think the first half of the movie is like completely different than the second half of the movie. I guess when you finally figure out what's going on, which I guess I fully didn't understand what was going on, But as far as the second one, the big hand at the end, the gods coming to life, I don't know if there would be anyone left to make a second one,
There wouldn't.
Yeah.
That was the whole
Unless
point.
they show the war of the gods killing the planet, which could be interesting,
It didn't really seem like it was going to be a war. It seemed like it was just going to be the gods killing the planet.
Right, one big swoop.
One of those Bambi versus Godzilla things.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And like I said, the last 30 minutes of the movie, when all the elevators are opening, that was a lot of monsters to pack into one movie. It was like, man, they just keep coming.
I'm getting giddy just thinking about it.
Which they were doing fine, hidden until the bat killed them, or killed the window, I guess. And it's kind of like, hey, everybody, they're in here. But yeah, it was definitely a good movie. And leave it to the stoner to figure it all out. He had it worked out. And then they said the stuff he was smoking made him immune to all the stuff that they were doing to him. So it was like, yep, leave it to the stoner. Yeah.
All the stoner had to do was survive.
Yep.
Which was not easy.
Hang on to his bong.
Hey, he kicked a little ass with that bong now.
He did.
Yeah.
Saved his life twice, Yeah, like I said, it was a pretty good movie. Although some of the places when I was looking for it to watch, some of them were listing it as a comedy. And it's kind of like, guy did a lot of ha-ha funny out of that.
It's more like it's kind of satirizing. I mean, in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pair. It's kind of a. It kind of takes a. It's taking a poke at the genre itself without really being so much that things are being done as
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way, it was a lot like Young Frankenstein in that regard. It was kind of a tribute to the whole cabin movie thing. And that's kind of the way they went about it. And it was just, they took that and ran with it, and it was just, oh man, so well written.
Yeah.
They kind of captured lightning in a bottle there with that one.
Yep.
It just, then again, I mean, they had worked together on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so they kind of had a handle on the horror thing to start with.
Well, not only
Takes
just
away with it.
a horror, but just kind of the smart writing, the smart characters, and then you're going, because I mean, all of us have sat and watched a horror movie and go, why in the hell is this person doing this?
Yeah.
They should be doing that. And in this film, they were going to do that, but they got changed, for reasons that we're not going to go into.
Right, they were being manipulated.
They were being manipulated to the point where they couldn't.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, all the dumb decisions, these guys had a reason for them.
Yep.
They gave us a really good, rational reason for that to happen. All the way down the line.
Mm-hmm.
I had to laugh though when he was on his little motorcycle and he made his speech and looked like the brave hero, and then blam. Like,
see, and it's the movie is well enough. The characters are well enough laid out, and the movie is well written enough that you see that and you kind of giggle when that happens, and then you immediately feel really bad about it because you're like, oh shit, wait, I like that guy. But holy cow, that was funny.
He should have called for his hammer.
That reminds me of. I'm trying to remember. Is it Deep Blue Sea, where they were manipulating, where they were modifying, or they were doing things with sharks?
Sounds about right.
And there was the whole sequence where Samuel L. Jackson's character is standing there, and he's talking about how he survived. It was like an encounter on the mountain, and he had to survive by, for a long period of time where he had no food or shelter, that kind of stuff. He's like, and we're gonna get through this. And next thing you know, he gets eaten by the shark. You're just like, wait a minute, what the hell?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I was giggling most of the way through this movie, watching it, because I haven't watched it in a while. I saw it once or twice not long after it came out, and enjoyed the hell out of it then. And even this many years later, going back to it, I was just practically giddy watching this movie. It is just so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, man, this is, again, this is like, I'm almost like the perfect audience for this movie, because it's got everything I could hope for. It's got just enough, the whole thing is just tongue in cheek enough to be, I'm sure, annoying to some people who are really diehard cabin movie horror fans are probably irritated by this movie, especially, like Liz says, once you get to about that hour mark.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of shit I feed on. That to me is just awesome, and just clever writing,
Mm-hmm.
and just the whole cosmic horror ending. It's right up my alley, I mean, that's right where I am. So yeah, this again, this is another movie that feels like it was just made for me. So yeah, I would rate it high if we were actually rating them. Absolutely, not gonna lie.
Yeah. I like it when a movie can pull off a twist that you really don't see coming, you know? And I feel like that's what they did here.
The thing that cracks me up about it too is it's not like they just sprung it on us at the hour mark.
Right.
Right.
I mean, the very first scene is the two
Yeah.
guys walking into the control room. We haven't even gotten to the house with the college students yet, and that's the first scene. So it's not like, and they were interspersed the whole time. We were seeing that. We just didn't know what it meant entirely. They did a really good job of kind of not explaining it, or explaining it in really small bites until bam, here it is.
Yeah. You're almost expecting like a nuke to go off with the way they were watching everything, or or something. But
Yeah, you just kind of feel like, what in the world are they doing? This is weird. What is this?
then you see them watching people, and you're like, God, I hope this isn't another Jim Carrey movie. In a way, it kind of was.
Except with Thor.
Right?
Pre-Thor,
Jackson.
anyway. Ben Jackson. And some other unknowns.
Yeah. Well, he's pretty popular on Grey's Anatomy now. So he made it on TV, not in the movies as much, but
Nothing wrong with that.
no,
Yeah.
pays about the same.
I'm sure it does.
This one wasn't bad. And actually,
What
when
bad?
yeah, it wasn't bad.
It rubs everybody in its own way, and
True.
she can use whatever adjective she wants for the perfect
No,
movie.
Well, the thing.
Phil
the
fell
thing is,
asleep during it.
well, he kind of falls asleep through everything.
Through everything,
Phil
right.
falls asleep on us every week, so
Every week.
whatever, That's like a badge of honor at this point. the Phil snore of approval.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Les, I'm dying to know.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. I did not even crack a smile through this one. I was following the story. It wasn't that difficult to see what was going on. But I just couldn't see any humor in it. The thing that I would say was probably closest was the betting pool.
Yeah.
But that didn't make any sense either. Maintenance won again because they had the family, the zombie family.
The redneck zombie family.
Yeah. The redneck zombie. Yeah.
Pain-loving. Yeah.
And the intern got part of the pool money because they allowed him to be part of the maintenance department. What happened to those characters? The zombie family? Well, they showed up, along with a lot of other zombies, which I didn't understand. Because to me, you were supposed to have that one group released because of the chant the character read from the book, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. At no time did I double over in laughter, unlike last week. It didn't do it for me. And I know that I'm probably one of the few that didn't laugh, but I guess that's my makeup too. You've got to really wow me to get me to enjoy a film like that. And granted, I watch some really horrible movies. I will be the first to admit it. But this is one, I'm sorry, I would not go back to watch. It could, and even if TBS was running at 24 hours, around Halloween, I would balk at watching it. And I watched it on demand with the support of Sci-Fi Channel, which cut out some of the parts, but obviously they didn't cut out enough to my liking. Because let me say this, I did smile. There was one time I did smile, and that's when it's at the end.
When they rolled the credits.
Yeah.
It was a Nine Inch Nails song, so.
I'm sorry, but this was this year's answer to Ghosts of Mars.
Wow.
And we all know how good that one was.
Oh, man.
And I apologize.
You
No.
really should stop apologizing, because you don't have to apologize for having your opinion, man.
Yeah.
It is okay. It's okay for us to like different things. It's okay.
But I just fear the bus is going to back up over me if I say something.
No. Usually that only happens when we agree.
Or we get bored.
Well, there's that too. Now, if we get bored, we'll just bring up Batman again and go off on another tangent. That'll be fine.
But there you go, folks.
I even said a minute ago, I'm sure there are people that it doesn't appeal to, and that's fine. That's okay. I honestly, I don't think of this as a comedy either.
Yeah.
My giggling.
It had its moments.
My giggling is purely evil giggling.
Right.
There's not really that much amusement in the movie. There's a couple of one-off lines that are kind of funny, but yeah, it's not a ha-ha movie by any stretch of the imagination. My giggling is purely evil stuff.
It's more of a dark humor. Like, thank you, zombie hand.
Yeah, that's just a little offhand thing that you might not even hear it's easily missed, but yeah, it's.
I just wonder why it's been rated as a comedy.
I don't know either, to be honest.
Well, it's only a few places that do. Like I said, I was trying to find it, see where I could watch it online, which, by the way, you can't. You have to rent it from Amazon. But, yeah, some of them are listing it as a comedy. Maybe a dark comedy? Because I think most of the things that were kind of funny was kind of gory. Maybe you're not supposed to laugh at it? I don't know.
To an extent, I think the just sheer quantity of gore there in point at the end, that's almost funny in itself.
Yeah.
But again, that's not ha-ha funny. It's more of a holy shit, that's terrible funny.
Yeah.
It's more of a boy, better them than me funny.
And the end of the world. One's dying, one's okay, and they're sitting there smoking a joint going, oh, it's okay. I know you didn't mean to kill me. We're all good. Hit this again before you wolf out.
Right. Yeah, no kidding. That was, I mean, if there's going to be a sequel, that's it, is that she's a werewolf.
Yeah.
Then she
So I
ate
guess
him.
He made it till the gods kill him, huh?
That's the implication, is that the gods wake up and the world ends.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a found footage movie in a way, in that regard.
Oh.
Like Blair's Witch.
Yeah, we're watching this after the end of the world, I guess. Yeah.
And once again, folks, I'm sorry to bring you down.
Well, it didn't bring us down. Hell, we're still over here giggling about it. What are you talking about? Not a big deal, man. Not a big deal.
No, it's all right.
I still like it, even if you don't, and that's okay.
And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that either.
I promise I will never force you to watch it.
And I promise I won't beat you up because you tried to force
even if
me
I
to watch
tried,
it.
right? Yep.
But if any of our listeners would like to watch this, like I said, you can rent it on Amazon. And after our podcast comes out, Sci-Fi will be playing it for the next couple of weeks. So
Woohoo!
I can't
Catch it
imagine
for
watching
free,
this
or-
on Sci-Fi. Jeez.
Yeah.
yeah, I think a lot, like Wes would say, would have been cut because
I mean, I'm betting there's just only so much gore you can get away with on Sci-Fi.
yeah. Although it is a cable channel.
It is, but it's also historically been a pretty tame one.
Yeah.
I mean, for one that actually does kind of show horror movies occasionally, they tend to cut them up pretty good.
Yeah.
At least in my experience. It's been a little while since I had cable, but
And it hadn't changed too much.
right.
And it was on Netflix, but they took it off for the October change, which is kind of crazy, but
Yeah, that's weird. I noticed
Yeah.
it wasn't on there,
Hmm.
but it didn't bother me to drop a few bucks for the DVD either. So
I just rented it. I didn't know if I wanted to see it again.
oh, I was absolutely certain I did.
Which, like I said, I wish I would have bought it now, but
I tell you,
It's not too late.
I tell you what kind of chapped my butt. When I bought it, I was like, I saw it by itself on Blu-ray, and I saw another Blu-ray which had it and Tucker and Dale versus Evil together, and I'm like, now I'm sitting here going, why in the hell did I not buy that when I had the chance? That was just so stupid. Because honestly, watching this makes me want to watch Tucker and Dale again.
Right.
I think I've seen this in the discount bin at Walmart. I could be wrong on that.
Really?
I wouldn't be surprised because it's been long enough that, yeah.
Yeah. I said sometimes you can find some pretty good movies in their discount bin. I've gotten a lot of my Burton that way.
Uh-huh.
Hush. That's my man. He's off limits.
I didn't say nothing.
I didn't say anything either. I just said, uh-huh.
Don't look at me.
Just out of curiosity, real quick, Les, what did you think of? You've seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil, right?
Yes.
What did you think of that one?
I thought that was very funny. I was very pleased with that because it turned the mythos on its ear. And I praised that one. I thought that was a lot of fun to watch.
Cool. Yep, I agree. And the deal here is that I can actually see where the differences are. So it makes sense to me that you can like one and not like the other. So don't worry. I mean, I like them both, but I can understand why you would like one and not the other.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that you will stretch out and not say that I'm an idiot, but will allow me to voice my opinion.
Yep.
And now if we'll join hands, we can sing Kumbaya.
Oh,
That was in this movie too.
only if we can do it while we're watching the last 5 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
Because that would just be perfect.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay, now I got a problem.
Didn't they sing it in the last 5 minutes of the movie? They banished the demon, and he was like,
they came
"Fuck you."
They came awfully close. They came awfully close, but not quite.
For the little
They had-
China kid.
They had gotten 3 more hits in on that joint. They probably would have.
Yep.
I meant the little China kids who banished theirs into a frog.
Oh yeah, the Japanese. Mhm.
Yeah.
A happy frog.
A happy frog, right?
He wasn't too happy though. See, that's another one of those things that you laugh at. He's cussing at a little 9-year-old kid, and you're laughing.
Yep. Yeah, you're basically laughing at how much of an asshole he is. But he's Bradley Whitford. He's such a good asshole.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
Such a good asshole.
But he's a good actor too, because I've
He
seen
is.
him in some good straight roles where he was not a villain,
Right.
and he pulled it off.
Hmm.
That was one between he and Richard Jenkins. I had hopes for the film.
They were quickly dashed.
See, that's what happened. Is you came into this with preconceived notions.
Yeah, really.
That's where the problem lies.
Oh, don't be me.
Yeah, that'll learn you.
Darn you.
And Bradley got to see the mermaid.
Yep.
Finally,
As he was sliding down its gullet.
you gotta be kidding me.
That was.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on.
Yep. Here's your chance.
They set that one up
They did.
big time.
And I thought the guy with the saw blades in his head was kind of interesting. I wonder if he's related to Pinhead.
Did kind of have that look, didn't he?
He did. Both bald, things sticking out of their head.
Mm-hmm.
And they each have like this cube thing.
Oh, this guy's was a sphere though. It wasn't a cube. It was a sphere. It's totally different. Yeah, I think there was maybe a little homage going on there. Honestly,
Maybe so, yeah.
just a
He
little.
was pretty cool looking though.
Yeah, it was Thor that was playing with that in the basement, I believe.
I think you're right.
He just wasn't quick enough.
Nope, not quite.
And then I was expecting it to like snap his fingers off or something. You're almost waiting for it. They set it up and then it never happens.
Mm-hmm. I still want to see what was on the film that the stoner was looking at.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true.
That would have been the interesting one for me.
What it would have brought on.
That too, but yeah.
So I was pretty impressed. He figured it all out. And everybody was like, "No, man, you're just tired." He's like, "No, for real."
Right, he walked in with the whole conspiracy theory attitude, though.
He did.
I mean, so he was the guy. He was clearly the guy that was going to figure it out if there was anything to figure out.
I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen The Good Place, but she asked, who she thinks is God. She asked him, well, who had it right? And he was like, actually, it was this guy named Dave. He got so high one night, and his friend asked him, what's this all about? And he's like, and he's the one who's actually got the closest. So the stoner figured out all the life, the mysteries behind it. So I guess they're a lot smarter than we give them credit for, huh?
Well, it's all about thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the bong in this case.
Right. And I think I read somewhere that bong that he carries was $5,000 to make.
Oh, I wouldn't be at all surprised.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's pretty cool. But $5,000 it was not.
Well, I mean, anything that telescopes that actually is sturdy enough to whack somebody upside the head with.
Right. Maybe if that big bag of weed he was carrying around came with it.
Well, sure.
Sure.
How could it not?
I thought that was the funniest. All that he had smoked made him immune to everything.
They even said they had spiked the weed. I mean, come
Yep.
on, chemistry lady.
Yeah.
She said that stuff's as loaded as we could get it, or something like that. Doesn't matter, man. He was halfway
He's
there
all
to
good.
begin with.
Right.
I would say the idea of a bear trap as a weapon for a one of those monsters. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I can't imagine that. I can't imagine the physics of that at all, but it looked awesome.
Well, it looked like it was just one side of it. There at the end when he had her on the dock, it looked like it was half of it with the teeth sticking out. So he was slinging it, and it was...
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, ouch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and nearly all of them got hit with it, and it didn't kill any of them.
Mm-mm.
But still,
But
ouch.
drug home girl.
All the way across that clearing.
Yeah.
But then they had to bring out the big old saw to actually take care of her.
Right.
So there you go.
Yep. And she was half the person she used to be.
She's just trying to
Wow.
get ahead.
Wouldn't it have been more appropriate to throw that at Thor then? Here's what you wanted in the woods.
Yeah. It would have, but he wouldn't have screamed like...
Yeah. And her hair went back to normal. Did you notice that? She was a brunette again.
I think there's an argument for bloodstaining there, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
just a thought.
Tomato, tomato.
Right.
But this is one horror movie that didn't have the girls running, screaming through the woods, so 2 thumbs up for me.
Just that one bit, but she was heavily drugged by then.
Yeah.
Yep. There were very few true victims in this.
Yeah.
They all handled themselves pretty well.
And then I liked it because the one I felt the most bad about dying actually came back. So it was like, hey.
You know, if you don't see him die, he's not dead.
True.
Yep.
But they showed
They went
the
right
blood
over that
spatter.
hill and they showed the blood splatter, and that was it.
That was it.
Didn't necessarily have to be his blood, or it could have just been when they pulled that thing out of his back he was stabbed with, whatever the hell it was, some sort of farming implement.
Yeah.
But just saying.
Yep. I think that's one of the rules from the Scream films. Or if not, it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's been a rule in others, that's for sure.
Yep. I think Jamie Kennedy said that, but who knows? I may be wrong.
I think you might be right.
But when they first said one had survived and didn't die, I first thought it was going to be Thor. That something caught him down there, or he was able to climb back up, or...
Oh, well,
Yeah.
come on, really?
You don't know. I mean, they kind of showed you, but it was dark.
They
so...
showed him hitting the wall like 8 times
Yeah, but, you know.
after he slammed into it at full speed with no helmet. I mean, come on. If he was wearing a helmet, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. And a
But
seatbelt.
no helmet. They don't have seatbelts on dirt bikes. I mean, come on.
Right.
It's not a thing.
Thank
Not
God.
a thing, Liz.
It is a fun film. I'm sorry Les didn't like it, but that's okay. But I enjoyed the heck out of it.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Pretty good one.
Okay, with that, I think we are going to take a quick little break and come back with our weekly picks. And we're back. It's time for our weekly picks, and we start off with Mike.
Okie dokie. I'm going to start off with a dark one because, you know, Halloween and all that.
Blame it on Halloween.
Actually, I now that I'm looking at this, I feel bad about making that joke because Dark Horse Comics is bringing us a new first issue of a book entitled The Whispering Dark. So, bad pun on my part. However, I fully expect this to be a good book. And I'll be honest, I was hooked at the description, which calls it a cross between Apocalypse Now and Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness. So I'm in, right there.
Woohoo!
It is about a soldier who gets shot down behind enemy lines and sees a lot more than she was expecting to see. So it ought to be fun. Nice dark story.
Sounds good.
Had me up front too. That was a really good descriptor of it.
Yeah. Definitely intriguing. I am up next, and for my first choice, I turn to Marvel Comics. And this is one of their tie-ins to the Infinity Wars called Arachnite. And unfortunately, I've not been reading the Infinity Wars, but I saw when this was first solicited, it kind of caught my attention, and I wanted to check it out. Apparently, somewhere in the story arc, there's going to be some kind of amalgamation of some of the characters, and Arachnite is actually going to be Spider-Man and Moon Knight as one. Combined as the one character. This is written by Max Bemis with art by Ale Gazzara. And the synopsis reads as this. Chosen as the avatar of the Spider Totem, Peter Parker is the dark guardian of destiny doing the bidding of the greatest weaver of fate. A role that has shattered his mind into multiple personas. A tech genius, a photographer, a teacher, and Moon Knight's one of my favorite characters, and I like Spider-Man, so I'm like, okay, I gotta check this book out. Some of it's not going to make sense since I'm not reading the rest of it, but you know what? I don't care. This sounds like it's going to be pretty cool.
It does.
Yep, could be neat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in with that too.
Alrighty, Les, you are next.
My first choice comes from Albatross Funny Books. And since it is winding down to Halloween, Spook House 2 is also winding down. This is a comic book, and it is promoted as a, what do I want to say, scary stories for kids. And I've been thrilled with the previous issues. This one also includes Eric Powell, along with Gideon Kendall and Logan Farber. Just the cover of it is, to me, is really funny. A character with the ray gun in being pursued by a predator type monster, and it says, in space, no one can see your pee pants. It's too dark.
Wow.
That's nice.
So
I like it.
if this is the one that you get, that's fine. I would love to see you find the other three and sit down and read them back to back. It's not a continuous story. It's just funny stuff.
Cool.
Alrighty. Sounds pretty cool.
That is cool.
Liz.
Alright, my first pick is out of Vertigo from the Sandman universe called The Books of Magic. This will follow a teenager along who's supposed to be the most powerful magician in the universe. Big difference there. But only he doesn't know it yet. So he has no idea what he's capable of. But there's these cultists out there who have a feeling what his powers can be. And they're trying to kill him. Which they're actually the good guys. But he's going to have a teacher along the way who will help him tap into this. Which is actually, I'm assuming, a bad guy. Because they know the power that he's capable of. So, this is the first one. Good time, jump in. there's been a lot of good titles coming out of the Sandman universe, and I think this will be another one of those. So, the Books of Magic, Vertigo.
Neat.
Fun.
This one brings what the previous character
Timothy Hunter.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this may be a good jumping on point for that character too.
Yeah. To me, it kind of gave me like a Charmed vibe, where they had a son who was powerful and he didn't know, they wanted to kill him before he could become that powerful because they didn't know which way he would go, if it would be a good power or a bad power. So
the
Yeah,
safest.
you always. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, you always want to stop and ask if they're a good witch or a bad witch.
right.
Yeah, the safest power is no power, apparently.
Right. And people are always scared of what they don't know.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Alrighty. Mike, you're up again.
I'm up again. All right, so this one is a Boom book, Boom Studios, and this is the collected trade of Abbott. And I know we talked this book up a ton when it was in floppies. Seems like it's been a little while, and I'm a little surprised it's taken them this long to get it to trade, given how popular the book was. And it's popular because it's really freaking good. So it is about Elena Abbott, who is a black female journalist in the 1970s who finds herself getting into some really strange stuff. And I don't want to go too spoilery on it because, dang it, just go get it and read it because it's awesome.
Yep, it was a great read. Not only was she a black investigative journalist in the 70s, but it's also in Detroit. So another...
Yeah, I didn't make it sound bad enough. Sorry. Yes, in Detroit.
Yeah, in Detroit. So,
Yeah.
I enjoyed the heck out of this book, and y'all did not get a chance to pick them up when they were in single form. Here you go. Definitely worth it.
Yeah, it was a real solid read.
Alrighty, I'm up again, and for my second choice, I'm going with Chapter House Publishing. And it's Die Kitty Die Cat House of Horror Special. And I believe this is just a one-shot. But we've talked up Die Kitty Die a lot on this show because it's been such a fun read.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't expect anything less out of this. You got Dan Parrott and Fernando Ruiz back doing this, and just if you've not had a chance to check this out, check out any of the miniseries and other one shots. If you can get your hand on this one, and you're gonna want to get the other collections.
Yep. It is a good title.
Alrighty, Les, you're up again.
Okay. Back in the spring, around the time of Free Comic Book Day, a comic book from SBI Press came out. That's Starburns Industries Press. It was a pretty frank magazine, and this is going to be something that came from that. This is called Comics Quarterly. It's a book that has various stories in it, and you've got some names, really high names, attached to this one. You've got, of course, to me, the number one person in the list here is Patton Oswalt, who has done voices. He's done characters on television. He's directed, he's written, and in this he gets to take original stories from comedians. And the comedians they have noted are Jackie Kashian, Sarah Benacasa, Elliot Royhall, and Rose Matafea. These comedians get to tell their stories, and just little side notes. The book that came out in the spring was really funny, and I wouldn't expect anything less from this one. So give it a try. This is number 1, and it has some of the strangest stuff in the first issue, so this is going to be a lot of fun to take in.
Cool.
Sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty, Liz.
Alright, my next one is coming off my cute fluff list. It's the Marvel superheroes. It's Earth's mightiest hero and your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man gets spooked, which is Captain Marvel, which is the Halloween story. Most of these have been one-shots, but they've been really cute. I know I talk about them a lot, but Scotty Young has the cute little drawings, and this always reminds me of him. So they've always been real good stories, kind of an all-age kind of thing too. So this is their spooktacular issue.
Cool.
Neat.
Should be.
Alrighty. And our honorable mention this week is...
Okay, our honorable mention this week is kind of a lot of stuff, in a way. Because we've mentioned already at least 2, if not more, Halloween specials. Well, I got 5 more of them right here for you. Dynamite has got a string of these things all coming out this week. They've got one for Army of Darkness. They've got one for Betty Page. They've got one for Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. They've got one for Red Sonja. And they've got one for Vampirella. Man, that's a lot of cool stuff. And I'm hoping to see some, if not direct tie-ins to some new series coming out soon, at least some new series coming out soon from some of this stuff. I mean, I know there's Vampirella's got some stuff going on. Red Sonja's got a fairly successful series running right now. Elvira's got a fun one. I am hoping to see some more Army of Darkness and some more Betty Page coming soon. But yeah, you've got a bunch of cool Halloween-based stories here. Now's your chance to take a look at it.
Just in time for Halloween.
That's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Good choice.
That's ours.
Alright. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
Shout out to Phil for his uncredited
Yep.
contributions to the show.
Right. He supplies all
His
of our sound
cameo.
effects.
Yeah. That's a little cameo there.
Got the background music down pat for this one.
One day I had to tie one of those little party streamers to his mouth, get a different sound going. Make it sound like he's clapping for us. Go y'all, go y'all.
As Cleavon Little said in Blazing Saddles, I always like keeping my audience riveted.
I'm trying not to take that all personally, but yeah.
Leave the poor man alone.
You didn't do anything to Cleavon Little. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I wonder about you sometimes, man.
You're not
As
the only
well
one.
you should.
Don't we all?
like I said in the opening, this was our last movie for horror month. I enjoyed doing these. It's kind of fun trying to put together a theme for this month for us to kind of discuss and something to where we can all kind of enjoy it and I already got plans for what we can do for next year. Yes, I'm thinking very optimistic, but hey, got to.
Right. I mean, why not?
So, next week we're not getting away from scary stuff just yet, because I mean that's going to be the week of Halloween, so we'll have something else to kind of scare you maybe, but I enjoyed really doing doing this theme for the month of October. So I hope y'all enjoyed it as well, and please let us know. All right, we'll go to our regular shout-outs then. First off, Manny the Martyr, who supplied us with the theme for our podcast. We'll have a link in the show notes to where you can check out their music. We do appreciate their being so gracious to let us use some of their music. Second of all, Pattern Family on Twitter. We want to shout out to them for supporting us by retweeting our links to the podcast. We highly recommend you checking them out. And the best way to do that is to go to Twitter and do a search using hashtag Pattern Family as all one word. And just scroll down and kind of take a look at what's out there. And please download episodes that you kind of find interesting, and who knows, you may pick up a couple more shows that you didn't know was around, and I hope you do. So thank you guys for your support. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading today's episode. We do appreciate your support as well. We'd love to hear from you. Any kind of feedback you have, whether it's a comment, suggestion, observation, complaint, question, anything, we would love to hear from you. There are several ways you can do that. You can go to the website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and click on the About Us tab, and there's a contact form that you can fill out. Or just do a regular email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and we'll get that. You can definitely contact us through our social media, and we highly recommend that you follow us. On Facebook, we are The Fellowship of the Geeks, and on Twitter, we are at Fellowship Geeks. And if you like to follow our personal accounts, Twitter accounts, feel free. Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at Newman_L. And I can be found at TomTC Geek. And wherever you download and listen to our podcast, so whether it's through iTunes, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, or YouTube, it would be much appreciated if you would rate our show. And if you have a couple extra moments, a review would be awesome. Did I miss anything?
Nope. Sounded like the whole list to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate your support. Hope everybody has a good week. And until next time, read more comics and support your local stores.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at the Fellowship of the Geeks, and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,